Hi and welcome to Spiritual Link, the podcast. A podcast about how developing spiritual well-being can help you in your daily life, and how that can enhance your confidence in who you are and what you are. The podcast is hosted by Ines and Tor. Ines is a development medium with over 30 years of experience in the field, and Tor has been an apprentice since 2013. In this episode, we talk more about regression, intuition, and psychics. You can support us by sharing the episode on your social media channels, subscribing to our podcast, and leaving a review. Remember, you can always find us on @spirituallinkco on Instagram. Hey Ines, how you been?
Hello, Thor. Wonderful. Yes, hasn't it been a glorious day? Beautiful day.
It was really nice out there, actually. It was
Yeah.
really lovely out there, I thought.
Really nice. I think I mentioned I went to Potter's Barn today, and lovely market, lots of lovely organic fruits, vegetables, bakeries, and so on. And there were a couple of stalls from Italy. And I did ask the people who were behind the counter, I said, "Did you come over from Italy?" And she said, "No, we live here." They were very Italian. So it just gave a feeling of being on holiday.
Yeah.
Lots of people buying their Christmas trees and wreaths and other things. So really nice. Yeah, just nice. Nice.
Will you set up a Christmas tree this year, Ines?
Not a tree. I used to. No, but I decorate heavily.
Right.
So it
That's
depending
nice.
on the space or your desire. No,
Yeah.
I decorate. I can go very mad with decorating. That's right. Yeah.
Are there like tiny Santas everywhere? What's
Oh
your
yes. Oh yes. Little angels. That's right. Little do angels or something like that. I think, I don't know, my parents or grandparents collected these little teeny weeny angels. God, I don't have to put them up. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Yes.
I've
But
been told that
instead of
we
doing
will.
my own advent calendar, as one does as a child, Sainsbury sent me one.
Did they?
And yeah, very nice with freebies. Freebies. Of course, it's a freebie. I don't have to buy it. So from the 2nd to the 8th, I can get a free little chocolatey thing. And then from the 9th to something else, you get something else. So, I get something. Yes. It's
That's lovely. Yeah, I've
yeah.
been told that we will be decorating where I live too. So we will be having some Christmas decoration. I've been told there will be a Christmas tree at some point. So
But point like now, it should happen now.
it should really happen now. So I'm waiting for
Yes.
this Christmas tree to come up, basically.
Oh, yes. It won't be in your room, will it?
It will definitely not be in my room. It will be down in the living room, I reckon. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's a living room. That's rather nice.
Yeah, it's quite a
I
big
like
house
that.
where I live. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I think that's great. And are you allowed to sit in that living room? Can you use
Oh
it?
yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
That's fab because you can get out of your own room.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, great. Okay.
So we're wrapping up regression. We've been talking about regression for a couple of few weeks. Like you said before we started, it never comes to an end, but we are sort of wrapping it up.
That's right. Yes, yes, it is. I mean, I think we may have been doing this for maybe 2 months or something like that. I don't know, but it's still only the tip of the iceberg. So if we ever sort of approach the subject again, we will add more.
Yeah.
And even though, say, somebody might have been listening for all of that time to every single podcast we did, and even if we repeat ourselves, there will always be something new to cement whatever we have said before. So, but yes, today I thought we would just finish that off a little tiny bit. And hopefully, yes, we got some really interesting replies, didn't we, from the last regression? Some people who had wondered themselves, not about regression, but why they were gravitating towards a certain theme in their life when it had nothing to do with their family. It was so far-fetched from their own childhood. They've always been wondering, why do I like this? And they were very interested in delving into a state of regression for their own interest, just an interest, of course.
Yeah, and I suppose that's kind of things that you can find out, right? It's like there's certain things in this life which perhaps doesn't make sense, but can be spillage almost, I suppose, from a past life, which spills over and it can help you make sense of who and what you are.
Easily, because everybody, we might be, let's say we're just ordinary people, but nobody's ordinary, because we don't know what really happened the last time and what motivates us now. We are so super interesting. And all the people that we have relationships with, work with, encounter throughout our lives, they're all part of a huge network of helping each other. And on that note is actually how I wouldn't mind us to begin today, because often, I don't know about anyone else, but often, you think, well, what is the purpose of life? What is happening? And we can certainly equate that with this COVID. What is happening? What can we do? In essence, we can only really enjoy the normal situations of eating, loving, buying, of course, feeling, and anything that is derived as a pleasure we can experience, such as travel or shopping, work, exercises, but that's all we can do. We can eat, sleep, feel, and enjoy whatever we do. But what then? What is there? But the one thing that does come forward is that we need each other. And I think that is so apparent now, isn't it? And from COVID, I don't want to digress or anything like that. I think it's taught us a really valuable lesson, how important people really are to us. And we need each other, everyone. We all work together to help each other. And I'm talking about a global situation, not just our own immediate circle of friends. There's nothing else except to help each other and only each other. We are like grains of sand. One grain doesn't grow anything, can't. One cell doesn't make a human being either. And the same would also apply to all of the universes. We all rely on each other to create the facets of our life in whatever form it may be, everything. There's always something that we don't completely understand. There always will be. Never completely will we know what is within the future. And that, of course, this not knowing what is totally in the future is the spur of our life. I mentioned vaguely, say, clairvoyance or even wonderful astrology. Both I love, absolutely love. Looking for someone, absolutely. But everyone is only given enough to whet our appetite, to move us forward a teeny weeny bit. We don't know, we do not see everything. We're not meant to. So even in our darkest hour of despair, which all of us suffer, no one gets away with it, and a deep despair, where we wonder why. Why do we stay? Why don't we just jump off the bridge? Whatever. But we do. What do we do? Is often the question. What am I going to do? But normally, what brings us back to a form of equilibrium is simply that we do not know what is around that corner, and we do not know. What we amaze around ourselves in is the symbolism of trying to find purpose to our life. Amazing what is around us, a big house, don't get me wrong, love it. 5 bathrooms, love it. A nice car, holidays, lovely restaurants, whatever turns us on. But what we swirl around and what we have around is only a symbolism to find a purpose of our existence. But the important situation, the really important situation, is being of help to others. So we come back to, I think, our first podcast. So within meditation, it is usual to move out, and out. But it is also important to move within ourselves. And we do. Through regression, we move into ourselves, into the depth of the mind, to perhaps help us to understand this particular life, which regression certainly would, because our particular life is now. And this now is so very important to understand. And that is also why we have the mind we do, to be able to go much deeper much deeper. We've been given this mind. It is part of our genetics. It's part of our makeup. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, whatever, how we're put together. But we also have this ability within our mind to go much deeper to different areas of philosophy. And when we do, it's like stepping across a little river. And if you've ever heard either of Thor or myself lead a meditation, you will know that there comes a point when we step across a little river. It is the river of life. It is when we step across, we're leaving all the rubbish behind, all the things that we need to attend to when we come back from the meditation. And we step across, it is a meadow. You can be anywhere you want to, but it is your inner sanctum of your mind. It is the depth of your mind. So what we, of course, are talking about is the totalness, and the totalness of life. That means this life, the last life before that, lives, and the ones that are to come are very dependent on the past life and hope for the future. And that is with every single life anyone leads, is always the hope for the future. So what can we derive from that? And so what we derive, the past is a yardstick for the future and also the present. It is being able to understand our life. And what is really the most important thing in life? Not important, it is important, but what is the most certain thing in life? Death. So what, therefore, if we have the proving points of a past life prior to this one, so if there are bullet points that you see in the regression, this, that, and the other happened in that particular life, not only proves it the purpose of life now, perhaps, or the purpose of that life, but also the purpose of death. And what else does it prove in the sense of where we're going? It proves there is a continuity. There's a continuation of life. And what do you think, Ashley? All the different types of religions and belief, what are they trying to do? They're trying to explain or give examples of the purpose of life. And also the existence and the hope for the future. For example, if I know that some religions perhaps say that upon death, if you've led a good life, and if you are of a certain gender, you will have 70 virgins or 70 nice young men or so. That is the carrot of continuation. And the purpose of this life is to be good, so you can have this lovely treat at the end of your days. Or, of course, it's proven also within the Bible, not proven, but it is a belief that the Christ figure died, was resurrected again, lived again, of course, as well, in a physical situation. But what we're actually doing with the regressive states, what we're trying to do is not a belief. Our beliefs are very important. We're not straying off of the beliefs. But what it gives us is knowledge that you have lived before. You have seen it within your mind. No one can put those images, those experiences into your mind. You do that. You are bringing forward the mindset of whatever is necessary for you to see at that time. And the total feeling, of course, of everything is also a feeling of belonging. And we do belong. We belong to something much, much greater. If this life, we tend to be more, let us say, not remote. Perhaps we don't have as many people around us as we would like. Possibly it is the lessons or the learning period for our spiritual self this time, to do without the abundance of family and friends that we might have had in the last life. And how does the spirit learn? It is through our actions as a human being. How do we go about bringing purpose to our life? And that comes, of course, through helping ourselves. Helping ourselves mean whatever is available to us, or physically or otherwise. We can go for walks, we can run, we can cycle, we can start doing some charitable work. We can take up a new hobby. Everything is difficult. Nothing ever is easy. But once we take the first step of trying to help ourselves, then the power of spirit will help and assist us to get over that hurdle of loneliness. And if we have learned this, what would you say if the page of our karmic life would also turn? All of a sudden, because of your efforts, guess what? You're going to start meeting people. And all the people you think were never interested in you, you have new friends, new hobbies, new interests. And all of a sudden you have a very rich and fulfilling life again. So with all the religions, I'm going across the field. I know I'm on my soapbox with regression. It is so very, very important. At the end of the day, they're trying to prove the continuation of our life, that there is a continuation after our death, after our physical death. But in your own thoughts, do you feel that any of the religions that you have been in touch with, investigated, enjoyed, belong to, do you feel that they have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a continuation of life? I say no. But I want you to think, and I want you to have your own answer. So those without the knowledge of regression are actually in a form of limbo. It is a very parochial in a sense that it tries to be very universal. However, those concepts still remain very much parochial because they do not stretch and allow the mind to expand. But if one wants to move away from that parochial feeling, then they can go and delve into the situation of greater understanding through the meditative force which we use to perhaps bring forward the state of regression. There are, of course, many other ways to move into the areas of regression, but that is one. Parochial, of course, means a simple mind. It is very basic form of thinking. It does not expand into the possibilities of what is around us, nor does it give us the knowledge that we are so much a part and so vital to everything that is around us. As I said, we need each other. Everyone. We need each other. We need to help each other. We need to work with one another. We are one grain of sand. Each of us who is listening is one grain of sand. What do you feel, Thor, because you have gone into regression very successfully? Do you feel it has expanded, let's say, the corridor of your mind, that there is more, or you might even want to visit, if possible, some of those places, or read about some of the places that have been unearthed through regression?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I do think so. I do think that regression has opened my mind. I suppose it's what I think the main reminder that regression has given me in times where I'm wanting to judge other people is that everybody's on their own spiritual journey. You know, instead of, I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes my mind jumps into judgment, but
Yes.
sometimes I'm also able to exchange that thought with they're on their own spiritual path, which means there's nothing I can there's not nothing I can do, but there is a reason behind people being who they are, I suppose, you know, which again, it's not about being a mug, but there's something, it makes it less annoying or less tense or less frustrating, you know, when you know that people are who they are because that's their spiritual path. And I think I've only been able to actually believe that because I've had regressive experiences.
Yes. I totally agree with you with that. It allows me to step back.
Mm,
I don't get that bothered.
yeah.
Maybe it's my karmic pattern to have experienced someone with that attitude of mind, which doesn't thrill me, but I can also let it go.
Yeah.
I cannot bombard anyone with my thought patterns.
Yeah.
as I don't accept that either. I love discussions.
Yeah.
I
No.
love other people's viewpoints.
Yeah. It's interesting that thing you said about people's about religion though, because I don't think there's any religion apart from perhaps partially Buddhism and Hinduism which talks about reincarnation out of the big five. I think they're the only one who sort of loose. I mean, they talk about it in a different way,
Yes,
but I think they are the only two out of the big. Is it the big five or the big four?
yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That talks about reincarnation. Yeah.
I also find personally that it's very limiting if we only classified those that have a continuation of life, the human beings. I feel at least what I have been exposed to is that all life has a continuation in
Yeah.
whichever form it is created.
Yeah.
And that, of course, all life forms have an aura.
Yeah.
So, in essence, which is hard to accept, but a hill has an aura, although the hill is part of the world.
Yeah.
So, when we see a rainbow, that is the aura of the earth.
Yeah.
And when we see our own rainbow, when we give aura readings, of course, that's exactly the same because the water ratio within the body is exactly the same water ratio as it is on earth.
Mm.
So we are a world within our own.
Yeah.
We are mineral, we will go back to the earth.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that though, right? On the hills, you can sometimes
Yes.
see the sort of thing above the hill, which is the hill's aura.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can definitely
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
And that I think to be able to train or to bring out the sixth sense, which 99.9 people can, even if you have no sight, then the body utilizes other areas.
Mm.
No one is ever omitted, never.
Mm.
You become one with the world. You can see something that is happening to the world, or you can see the reactions of a dog. Let's say you're going for a walk and you can see the aura of the doggy.
Yeah.
You can feel what it's going through.
Yeah.
Maybe it has an upset tummy or whatever it might be. Maybe it's just delighted to be sniffing around. But all those things bring the world together. It's not just us in our own little world, but everything is so connected.
Yes, I suppose what I'm hearing is that by developing your intuition, your psychicness almost connects you more to other people, right?
Totally. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I do some work in a care home.
Yeah.
And of course, those individuals are vulnerable. A lot of them are still able to think very clearly, not totally, but that helps an awful lot to understand their needs because they
Mm.
have then become reliant on another set of rules, if you like. It's an
Mm.
institution.
Mm.
So yes, it does. And by helping those individuals who I have never met before, in essence, they are probably helping me to develop my spiritual path, hopefully learning, so that the page of karma turns as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe in the past, they have looked after me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I view it on a much broader scale that we help each other. That's the important situation.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. And that we're all part of the same thing,
That's
right?
right. I think you said to me, and I totally agree with you. I feel for the world, not just my own patch. I just, what is the joblessness, and then people being evicted. There's no work. You can't pay the rent,
Mm.
however much you want to. There's nothing
Mm.
there.
Mm. Yeah. So on that note, what is the positive message of the week that we can
Oh,
leave people
wow,
with?
wow. Oh, the positive message. It's very, very positive. Now, this is from an ad. You can see how creative and original I am. This is from an ad on the BBC or Sky or something like that. Somebody else said it. Well, we know that the normality that we still have in our mind is not going to come back. We know that. There will be a new normal that we will adjust to, even like wearing masks. It's nice in the winter, actually, keeps your mouth warm. So
Yeah.
who knows what we come up with. But it will be different. And on this ad, it said, let's build the difference.
Okay.
And that is my total advice. Get out there and walk. If you have a stick, if you have a walking frame, you walk down if it's only 10 by 10, you
Yeah.
start walking.
Yeah.
And just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. I'm no different than all these, it's very well for me to say, exercise, do this, a new hobby. I am so reluctant to do that because I find it so tedious. So I know where everybody stands. But let's build that difference.
This reminds me of so I have a circle that I go around, like that I run in a circle basically.
Okay.
And there is this really old man. He must be in his 80s.
Yes.
And he's out walking. Every time I see him,
yeah,
he walks a very similar circle to me. You can see he has real issues with walking.
Mm-hmm.
But he's out there. He's just walking and like moving himself. I think it's fabulous. Yeah.
I tell you one thing, if that gentleman does not walk and he is chair bound, the consequences are hideous.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to be.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I always try and smile to him. I also
that's nice.
Yeah.
As you shoot past him, this very strong, handsome, built man. Oh yes. Bye.
But I also see this. So sometimes in the morning, I'm not sure if I've seen this before. When I go out for a run in the morning, I also see this. I don't know how old he is. He must be somewhere between like 12 and 15. And that's because there's like a basketball court where I run as well. And there's this like at 7:30 in the morning, there's this kid between like 12 or 15 out there playing basketball all by himself, practicing his shooting.
Wow, good.
I think it's amazing.
I completely agree. How wonderful. How absolutely wonderful. So in this basketball court, obviously you can't talk to him or anything.
No, because I'm running in the circle,
you're running.
and I see him at the basketball court every time I run past. I think it's so great. I see him always out there practicing his shooting.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, good for him. Really, really good for him.
Yeah, no, I
That's
think
excellent. But that is, of course, he will be great, perhaps, if he wishes to be. But that applies to meditation as well.
Yeah.
That we put some effort into it. Nothing happens easily.
Yeah,
and
no.
No free meals. We know that.
Yeah.
But it's there. If we put the effort in, it will happen.
Yeah. I totally agree. Well, thank you for another Friday and for wrapping Regression up. I thought that was great.
Yeah, good. And next week you will tell us about your Christmas tree?
And next week I will most certainly tell everyone about our Christmas tree.
Good.
Yes.
And tell us again if you saw the old man and the kid in the basketball court.
No, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you for another session, Ines.
It's okay. Thanks a lot, Thor. Brilliant. Good to chat to you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Spiritual Link the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or want us to explore a topic, please do feel free to reach out on our Instagram account @SpiritualLinkCo.